Hi everyone, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Let's wait for another minute or two so that we are all settled down. Um, Sunita says hello, Agyat. Agyat,
Hi
that's for you.
Sunita. Hi Sindhu. Is that Sindhu from Colombo?
It's Sunita.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
also yes, Sunita also, but I can see another person. I'm wondering if that's okay.
Hello everyone. So you can tell us from where are you joining today? Sunita is from Hyderabad. Okay. Palak Pandey. So all of you are joining together. From the same system, is it?
Hi Kismat. Congratulations.
hello sir. Thank you so much.
Uh, Hi
How are you, sir?
Sindhu. I'm good. I'm good. How are you? News is
Yeah,
from your side.
yeah, I'm fine, sir.
We also have our friend Sindhuja joining us from Colombo.
Hi, Sindhuja. Nice to have you. Welcome to today's masterclass.
He
Hi,
is
Agyat.
from Kandy. Hi Sindhu.
Wow, that's lovely.
Good to see you. எப்படி இருக்க?
ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கேன். நீங்க எப்படி? Very happy to
Ah,
meet you, Agyat, and all. Very happy.
yes. I'm glad you made time for. Oh, good. Hi, Nidhi.
Hi.
I guess we're just waiting for everyone to join in and then we'll start. So everyone have patience.
Yeah. I think we can kickstart this. Meanwhile, let people keep joining us, and some of them are also viewing us live on Facebook group
Sure. Yeah.
through Trainer Tribe group. So yeah, we'll just kickstart this. So yeah, it's very nice to see everyone here today. Welcome back to this master class. And today's session is about social emotional learning and in the post pandemic world. And my name is Lyman Brahma. I'm a part of capacity building team in Quest Alliance. Um, so if you are here for the first time, just to let you know that these master classes are organized every Friday at 4 p.m. on Zoom. This is organized by Trainer Tribe, and Trainer Tribe is an online learning community for all educators. So in case you would like to be part of this community, please feel free to join us. We are on Facebook as a group. So if you, I will share you the link to Trader Tribe at toward the end of the session. So yeah, feel free to be part of it. And also, if you would like to write about your experiences about this masterclass, feel free to use hashtag Trainer Tribe. This being our official hashtag. And so while the speaker is speaking, please make sure that you are on mute, just so that we do not get distracted by any background noise. But if you would like to speak, feel free to unmute at any time. I think we are less in number today, so that should be good. Use the chat section to leave all your comments and questions. Yeah, so while I said that feel stay yourself muted, feel free to use the chat box often. Make sure that it is buzzing continuously and throughout. Again, if you're joining us for the first time, Quest Alliance is non-profit organization. We foster 21st century skills among young people by transforming learning ecosystems across the school to work continuum. And Quest learner focused programs are designed to meet gaps in the school to work continuum by using educational technology, capacity building, partner collaborations, and advocacy to create real impact that changes lives. So far, we have impacted about 1,641 government schools, 4 lakh plus students, 10% increase in school attendance in about 9 states. And we have also worked with about 40 plus training partners, 400 plus ITIs, 6 state government MOUs signed, reached about 1,30,000 young people in about 12 states. Just a moment to thank all our donors and partners for their continuous support and for actually spreading the word and getting you folks around here. So coming to today's main agenda of the day, which we are all very excited about. So we have Agyat with us. Agyat, we are very, very happy and excited to have you spend your Friday evening with us. Welcome to this session. And yeah, we are all very excited and looking forward. Over to you.
Oh, great. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Vanakkam. Hi. Iowan to everyone. Let's right straight away dig into what we're going to talk about. As you can see, I'm trying to be myself. So the whole idea is that as we are talking about it, you also be as much possible yourself, and because it's supposed to be an interaction. So I would really want to get you to say your piece about what we are talking, and like it becomes difficult for everyone to come and start talking about what they want. So how different ways we can express yourself. You can read what is written here, but I'll also enact some of this. So write in the chat box, use the emojis to express yourself. Shake your head sideways if you don't agree with something, up and down if you agree with something. I mean, that's for people who are in India. I don't know what it means in other cultures. In some cultures it would mean the same thing, in some different things, so need to be culturally sensitive also. If you agree vigorously with something, and if I say something or you read something that you're like, oh yes, I agree, then you just vigorously say yes, I also agree. If chat box is not good enough for you to say what you have to say, and you get an idea and you think, oh, this is something I'm going to try tomorrow, or as soon as possible, then this is the start running. Do the action of running. So don't actually start running. I don't want to lose you here. Then as we are doing this, and you still, all this is still not good enough for you to express yourself, then unmute yourself and try and say something in one word. That's the challenge. Okay, so if you want to say something, say it in one word. I mean, there would be other opportunities where you can say more. Also, because we are participating together, you would see a lot of people expressing in the chat box. So please keep reading it, what they are saying, also what I'm saying. And if at any point, if you want to say something related to that, what you've heard, you can just express it in the chat box. I mean, very short, you can just say something like, I hear you, Ramiza, or agreed, Lyman, or some similar expression. So try and be interactive and be yourself. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to talk about social emotional learning. Three things. So what is SEL? Some of you may know already. Some of you may be curious to know what it means, and why are we talking about this, right? And third thing is, how can we implement SEL in learning spaces, and all this in 45 minutes, right? Is that less or more? Next slide. So as I was thinking about these 45 minutes, and I was wondering, is this enough or not? I came across this piece of information. Elon Musk recently, in their company presentation or somewhere, he said that they're planning to develop vehicles which will take us from New York to Shanghai in 39 minutes, right? 39 minutes for 840 minutes that takes it right now, which is 14 hour plus for 7,000 kilometers. They're planning to do it in 39 minutes. So can we complain about 45 minutes? No, right? So we'll just make do with 45 minutes. So to begin with, what do you think SEL is about? So to begin with, please write in the chat box. What do you think SEL is about? If anybody has any opinion, please feel free to write. Anyone? Can you hear me? I hope everyone is able to hear me. Emotional intelligence. So SEL is social emotional learning. But what does social emotional learning? What does it tell you? What does the term tell you? What is social learning? So social emotional learning is about. It is about emotional intelligence. Yes. What else? Knowing and emphasizing the self and other. Great. Okay. That's one part, definitely a part of it, that you know and empathize with yourself and with others also. Okay. Connect with understanding feeling of the learner. Okay. Good point. Hmm. Somebody saying it's difficult. That's a tough one. I'm guessing they're talking about empathizing with self or others. Self management, that's a key element, as we will see soon. Yes, to be able to manage yourself in the learning space. Stress management. How do we deal with stress? It could be physical stress or emotional stress, things that are bothering us, distracting us from being able to be a learner or educator. Okay. Anything else? Awareness of one's own emotional self. Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Managing our and others' emotion. Yes. It's more about making people understand surroundings and being more mindful. Okay. Yes. All good points. Handling relationship. Yes. One of the competencies. Let's make it straight. What to speak, how to speak, and when to speak. Okay. Okay. So yes, that too, but not just that. It's a lot more than speak. It's about creating an environment, building a community. Okay. For anyone else. So now keep writing this. The next question is now, as educators, learners, people who are working with different population, somebody comes to you and say, okay, you have to start implementing social emotional learning into what you do in your learning space. What does it do to you? What is your immediate reaction? I was trying to guess some of the reaction, as you can see it on the slide. But if somebody comes to says from tomorrow start using SEL in your classroom, that is the latest thing. Uh, what does it do to you? How would you react? Please mention in the chat box or uh, yeah. Anyone? Any response? Let's give it a try. Sure. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone see it as okay? One more thing, burden. Also, some of people who have been working for long would say that what's wrong with what I'm doing. I mean, what is this new thing? Social emotional learning looks tough. Okay, right? Somebody is sharing. Connecting with people might require smaller groups, more one-to-one. Design again. Sure. Yeah. So yeah, sort of it could distress you. It could be a burden. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay, so that was the question. Do you feel irritated, angry, frustrated if somebody asks you to add something more to your plate, saying, okay, this also now you need to deliver to tomorrow? Or do you feel curious, reflective, or excited, saying, okay, what the hell is this? What can I do differently in my learning space? Content, context, connection together. Great. Okay. Curious. Yeah. Next slide, please. Okay, so this will keep coming right now. brain break. Can you take away the presentation? This is 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. We just take a brain break. This is the time for you to just, if you want to get up, shake your hand, move your body. Just remember, it's important not to get stuck in one position, both physically and metaphorically. Uh, Take a deep breath, relax yourself, and yeah, if you want to try something new, this is how it goes. Try and sing it with me. Alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. And I may not be able to hear you, but you can try and sing it. Alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. Alive, alert, awake, awake, alert, alive, alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. This is how it goes. Alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. Alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I hope somebody is doing it. It's more complicated. I'll do it. Next slide, please. I hope you had a good 30-second break or 1 minute. So this is what SEL definition, one of the definition is, which says, and you can all read it. And if you read this definition and if there's something that resonates with you, something that you want to underline as something that appeals to you, please mention it in the chat box. Yes, physical training. We all waiting for it, right? Everyone is waiting that when can we get back together and start playing. I mean, for me especially. Yeah. You read the definition. SEL is the process through which all young people and adults understand and manage emotions, set and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. A lot of what you guys were already mentioning in what you think SEL is, social emotional learning is. So the reassuring thing is that it's not something completely new. We've all been working on this, and we in our own ways trying to use SEL. Okay, next slide, please. So this is what I want. We want to take a minute or so for everyone to read the definition and connect it to what you've been doing in your space with learners, or even as a learner yourself. If there's something that you have immensely benefited from, which you think resonates with this definition of SEL. So if you have something, please mention it in the chat box. Anyone? Yeah. What does this definition connects with what you already do? Any elements of what you have read in the definition? Asking how they are feeling today? Yes. Yeah. Anything else? Anything that we do in the learning space to understand and manage emotion, set and achieve personal goals, being sensitive to everyone's need in the room. Yeah, right. So socially aware. Anything around achieving personal and collective goals, feeling and showing empathy, you've already mentioned. Individually resolving conflicts. Okay. Anything that is there anyone who has something in their mind that we do around responsible decision making? Finding ways to connect with people who seem to be distracted. Yes. Trying to be inclusive in more than just saying, okay, is everyone present here? Okay. Group discussion is storytelling. Good. That's a good point. Storytelling. Keep writing here, and we go to the next slide. And I just wanted to share this story with everyone. So this is about this girl called Imrose, and this is about in 2000 that we are talking about, when me and my partner Swati moved to Hyderabad to start Play for Peace. Uh, she was one of the first young people in part of the youth group who got trained to facilitate sessions of Play for Peace with children. Uh, she was 17 at that time, and she had dropped out of the school. She in her 10th grade, having not been able to clear her English a couple of times. Play for Peace, if some of you don't know, is a process of cooperative gaming. It revolves around core values of inclusion, cooperation, safety, caring, and fun. Um, Imrose and her friends used to run 1 hour sessions with children in the communities, in their own communities, and soon she started leading sessions independently in a year's time. Uh, all the sessions for the first years were in the community, and a lot of time we had to lead those sessions because the young people were not comfortable initially. But after a year, they decided that we also be not just communities. This is just we were maybe in 7 communities, 300 children. They said we want to reach out to more people. So Imrose was chosen as the leader of the group, and she went and talked in 30 different schools and got all the principals to agree. She gave them a demo. She actually did a session with the one classroom and uh, asked them to say if they want this in their school. One class, once in a week for one period, and almost everyone agreed. Right. Next slide. Still continuing the story. Uh, One day, she decided to go to her own school, the school from where she had dropped out. Right. Uh, And around 10 o'clock, I think it was, when we got a call from her in complete panic. And she was like, I am shaking. I can't do this session. You have to come to the school. You have to come to the school. And it was like, I don't know if I can call it a request or a demand. I mean, she just wanted us to come because that's the kind of relationship we had built with her. They know that they could call upon us anytime. Uh, and so we went there, and she took us to the principal. They welcomed us, offered us a cold drink, which was considered a mark of respect there. That's what the youth told me, that, wow, the principal offered you cold drink. I mean, that's so cool. Uh, and Then Imrose went and did her session. She didn't ask us to come in the classroom and support her in running the session. She just wanted us to be there, and our presence there was enough validation for her to get over her nerves. I mean, all this uh, shivering and shaking that was happening with her. Uh, think about what I've just said. Okay, and these are when we talk about social emotional learning, these are the 5 key competencies, as Sumita had earlier mentioned when we asked about what SEL is. She mentioned some of them: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. Okay, these are the 5 key SEL competencies. Uh, I think these are quite obvious, self-explanatory kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot that is inside each one of them, but I think broadly we all understand what these 5 things mean. We may have a question about how do we use it? What strategies do we use for implementing this in our classroom? Uh, Now you've heard the story, right? Uh, think of, where do you see these competencies coming in play in that story? Can you put that in the chat box? Anything that you heard in the story that you think is connected to one of these SEL, social emotional learning competencies? Can you mention that in this chat box, saying what was self-awareness in that story? What was, so when you say self-management, what do you think was the action? What was the strategy she used for self-management? She invited us, right? That's okay. Awareness that she required help. Yeah, great. Seeking support. Yes, to relieve her stress. Right. Yeah. Using her relationship to skills. Right. To know that she can just call upon us. Yeah. Ask for relationship. Ask for help. And I think all this encompasses a very responsible decision making, that knowing that as a leader she had already gone to 30 schools and she had done this wonderfully, and uh, there was no doubt about that she would be able to do this, but to be able to take that call saying, okay, uh, I may have done this in 30 school, but here I am not in the same space. I mean, just imagine the trauma that if SEL is not happening in their school, and if students are going through the trauma, what that trauma can do, and what SEL can do. I mean, just if you just compare these two things, that she dropped out of that school, right? And there was so much trauma. And if we meet somewhere in physical space, I can tell you what those traumas were part of. I mean, what different things she had to go through, bordering on abuse or abuse actually, and how being doing Play for Peace for 1.5 years. And when I'm saying Play for Peace, what I'm saying is going through an experience which is safe, which is inclusive, which is non-judgmental, and being able to have a say is all. It took 1.5 years of doing that for her to come over the trauma of maybe 10 years of schooling, and how we can use that in our space. And so the next question that comes related to this is, this was my story, but all of you also have stories, right? So think of something that has happened in your learning space, and if you can in one or two lines mention something that you think gives an example of how you did something that integrated one of these competencies and worked for you in the learning space. No, I'll repeat this again. Think of what you do in your learning space, and look at it from the angle of these 5 competencies. And tell me any strategy that you use, share it with everyone here that you think is related to one of these competencies. And yeah, any specific example. Okay, when I go into the classroom, I invite everyone for emotional shower, so everyone just kind of talks about what they're feeling. So any such ideas that you have, or how you use when you're talking about maths, or you doing maths, you actually talk about problem solving and connect it to, okay, so this is a maths problem, but there are problems that we have in our life, and how those do, what is more challenging, so how do we integrate these things? Any example of something that you have tried using an energizer? Yes. Using art for emotion expression, right? Great. Yeah. Storytelling. Yes. Yeah. Stories to connect. Yeah. Getting people to react to the story, or there are different ideas around storytelling, right? We can sometimes we use half a story and tell people to complete the story, and everyone will come with it with different angles, and in that uh, actually be able to express themselves. Sharing lived experiences, yeah, especially in today's context, right? We have been through this 10 years of uh, being away from each other, right? And now when we get together, whether virtually or physically, uh, to make sure that we just don't jump into, okay, so what are we to learn, but actually start from where we are, which is the key principle of experiential learning, is that you ask the students, okay, so how have these 10 months been? There's no better place to start than that. Doing an empathy exercise, yeah. Sharing our challenges to draw empathy. Expressing my life experiences to create a space for them to realize all theories are connected to life. Wow. Okay, that's an important point, that how not just say, okay, this is how things work in theory, but being able to share an experience that you have lived, and sharing it with people, to say that this is actually how this theory fits into a real life experience. Great. Okay. So continuing expressing yourself, and we'll go to the next slide. And a lot of brain working. So time for another brain break, right? So relax yourself, shake yourself. If you want to get up, get up. And if you still you think that this is not too much, what a stress, let me give you some stress, okay? uh, can you do this? Do this, do. Can you do this? Do this and switch and switch and switch and switch and switch and switch. If you feel your hands are getting stressed, just do this and then come back again. This and this and this and this and this and this. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we just started talking about last 10 months, and if if we were to look at what disaster, how disaster is defined, I would say that last 10 months were a disaster. And normally disasters get over in a day or 2 or 3 days. I mean, the actual event, the trauma may last for very long, but the actual event normally, I mean, earthquake finishes in 10 seconds or maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute. The impact may last for 2 years or for a lifetime for people. But this was a unique disaster in the sense that we were going through this disaster for 10 months. And for some, it's still not over, right? And when we talk about what is the relevance of social emotional learning, what we are trying to say is, okay, how can we use trauma informed practice in our learning spaces? And some of you have already suggested that, ask people how they are feeling, give empathy. If there are any other ideas, please share with us. Next slide, please. And this is something that is probably true for all the time, that we need to have safe spaces and environments, but especially when we are talking about current scenario, trauma informed practice dictates that we very intentionally think about providing learners safe space and environment. And so one of the questions to ask yourself would be, what are you doing differently? What are you doing differently that is taking into account what has happened in these 10 months? And those are the three things that needs to be part of any strategy we are doing. Empathy and understanding, validating feelings and behavior, and building relationship. And again, some of you have already mentioned that. I think the more important point here is to realize that first we have to take care of ourselves. And this, we always say this, if we are the caregiver, and in this space we are educators, but when we are coming to learners in this, after this big 10 months of being in a trauma, then we are also caregivers. And so we have to, as caregivers, we need to take care of ourselves. And for all the educators who are present here, I want you to, kind of give a pat yourself on your back. Can you do this? Just take your hand up, take it back, and pat yourself on your back and say, good job, shabash. The fact that you have lived through this 10 months, you have learned from it, and you have come back to this space, still curious and wanting to do new things, learn new things. That I think is a very positive signs for your learners, whoever is coming into your learning space. So just to again emphasize that we need to ask ourselves, and if you have somebody to have this conversation, have it with them. But if not, just talk to this about yourself. How difficult it was for you to manage? Challenging, what were some of the roadblocks that you faced, uh, and then ask yourself, how did you nurture your relationship during this time? What is the one new thing that you did to help people in your life? Or what, also the reverse of it, what did people in your life, what one thing they did for you that nurtured your well-being? So if there are any examples, uh, would love to hear in the chat box. One thing that you did to nurture your relationship with somebody, or one thing that somebody else did to nurture their relationship with you. It could be personal, it could also be something that you did with your learners. Being kind to self, okay. And what does that actually mean, being kind to ourselves? So anyone else? Yeah. uh, Come to meet in person, okay. Acceptance, yeah. Easier said than done, right? It sounds like a very simple word, and how challenging it is for many of us, or for all of us. Visual storytelling to inspire creativity, yeah. Okay. Any other example? Okay, next slide, please. If you keep getting ideas, do keep mentioning it. And so, from trauma-informed practice, uh, okay, Sindhu has just mentioned, I started to talk how I perceive life, which opened up many good conversation, right? Okay, sometimes we are afraid of serious conversation, but I think we're in serious time, so that's an interesting conversation to have. Make themselves available to talk. Yeah, people made themselves available to talk. Yeah, sure. So now it brings to another point, which in some way also, when I read this term, it triggered me, especially in the context of what we have seen in, especially between March, April, May, June, July, especially in the context of Corona, COVID. We're seeing some of it even now in different contexts. uh, Culturally responsive teaching. What does this actually mean? It's a critical aspect of SEL, and there are some questions here. I was trying to frame some challenging questions, and if you could respond to those questions in the chat box, because this, where do these questions come from? What do they indicate? Is reservation in education a charity or a right? What do you think? Do you do anything proactively to facilitate relationship between diverse students? If you have diverse students, what do you actively do? Or is it something that has always been happening, that continues, which kind of always is, uh, a lot of rituals in our learning spaces are tuned to the culture of the majority, and normally they wouldn't take into account uh, if somebody is from minority. And when I'm saying here majority and minority, I'm not meaning just religion. I'm saying majority and minority in terms of religion, in terms of caste, in terms of ability. It could be mental ability, it could be physical ability. uh, uh, what do we proactively do to take care of that? What are the challenging learners may be facing with the online engagement? Language translation to native language, that just reminds me that I was asked yesterday कि थोड़ा बहुत हिंदी में भी बोल लेना and पूछ लेना लोगों से, and I completely forgot about it. So try and not judge. Okay. For question 2, personal bonding. Yeah. And personal bonding, it's great, but how does it takes into account the diversity that we have? That's a question that we need to ask. But yeah, okay, you're saying it's for the 3. Yeah. Small group activities. Hmm. Okay, I mean, even when we talk about culture, just in terms of resource or class also, and I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and I was saying, uh, for all these online classes, even for I mean, if somebody has two children or three children, and there are classes going on for all three of them, that means they need three devices. And has anyone in our administration of these education been sensitive to that? Has anyone proactively sought how is it possible to get people to benefit from doing this online thing, and would it actually exclude certain people completely, or would put people into a lot of stress and take from them take drive it from their basic needs, because we know people, like, they might be cutting down on their ration to actually buy a internet enabled phone so that their children can attend the online classes. So that's just an example in the current scenario. But when we talk about culturally responsive teaching, it's much more than that. It's taking into account, okay, what are we doing? First of all, it starts with our own self awareness, that what is the diversity in my class or my learning space, and how am I responding to it? What are my different strategies for doing this? Next slide, please. Like Janvi is saying, online is exclusive. A lot of people cannot access. Agreed, yeah. And it's almost like we've been told that that's become the new way of learning, right? Everyone is going so gung ho about online learning. Everyone needs to learn and whatnot. Just not thinking about, that some people would just not be able to access it, and they would be further excluded. And these are people who already feel excluded, and they're further excluded. So multiple layer of exclusion. Uh, okay, serious conversation, brain break. What do you want to do now? Okay, it's almost what, 40 minutes, and do you want to do this? This is one of the most common play for pace game that we do everywhere, normally done in physical space. But I'm just going to show you how it is done. If you want, you can do this. So you go with your right hand and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Join me. Not everyone's camera is on, but for those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can't see the feet, so I won't do the feet. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, back to business. Next slide, please. So from culturally responsive teaching we are now going deeper, and I'll take probably 5-7 minutes more. Social emotional learning for equity and social justice. How can we use social emotional learning for actually transforming lives, and not transforming, like small, but transforming in the way that our society is impacted. Uh, a process whereby young people and adults build strong, respectful, and lasting relationships that facilitate co-learning to critically examine root causes of inequity and to develop collaborative solutions that lead to personal, community, and societal well-being. Yeah. And just look at how the 5 competencies have been mapped to saying, okay, what can you do if you're looking at uh, addressing equity and social justice in your learning space. That when we talk about self-awareness, it's not just about where are you feeling this tingling session in your body. Be aware of your feelings, but also self-awareness about how does caste play out in this conversation in our learning space. How is class difference playing out? We just heard, like, some people are completely excluded from online thing. Gendered identities in our mind, how are we conscious of how we look at boys and girls, or male and female, differently? Is there a bias? If we do we know our own bias? That's a question we have to ask. So self-awareness, self-management can be create a collective agency. Uh, so not just agency of self, but as a group of people, what would a collective agency means when people are from different caste, class, religion, gendered identities, physically different able. Social awareness. How do we use strategies so that people feel belong to one group? Not not from ignorance, but from being aware of wow, how diverse we are, and we belong together. I mean, in theory, we talk about it, ki hum sab ek hai, unity in diversity and all that. But we see what is happening outside, right? We see what is happening in the world. We see what's happening in our WhatsApp groups also, right? हाँ मतलब so क्या क्या हो रहा है, belonging कैसे हो सकती है, relationship skill, how do we create students to work together. So when we talk about project based learning or using experiences together, uh, to not just say okay, please know each other's name, say hi, hello, good morning to everyone. So it's not something fudgy, but we're talking about, can we give them to build relationship where they're actually working together, making something. So if they make something, if they do something together, they're not just creating that product that you ask them to do, product or learning lesson or whatever it is, but also there's a shared reality. They are creating a relationship that goes way beyond just knowing each other well, and responsible decision making. So I come across this term distributive justice. क्या होता है distributive justice? Are we, are students able to access resources? Students को जो resources मिल रहे हैं, वो are they based on their needs? So if somebody needs, so for example, if somebody has easy access to library, just from the point of view of being there physically close to that space, having access to library, what if somebody stays far away? What can we use differently? How can we share resources in a way that it is used meaningfully, right? So if any of these five things raise any question for you, if you think that and I tell you why I chose to start talking about social emotional learning की बात खास तौर से in the context of social equity and social justice is, I think when we talk about current scenario and post COVID, I wanted to actually ask everyone, what is some of the strongest images that you have seen in the last 10 months that kind of frames the reality of corona for you, COVID crisis? पिछले 10 महीने में ऐसी क्या क्या तस्वीर आपने देखी है? When I'm saying तस्वीर, I'm not just saying कि actual तस्वीर, but हालात के बारे में, जो दूसरों के बारे में सुना हो आपने, ऐसी क्या चीज आपके सामने आई है जो आपको लगता है कि उस पूरे क्राइसिस को एक तरह से अंडरलाइन करती है? So Agyat is saying migrant hunger, okay, yeah, joblessness, yeah. For me personally, it was this whole image of people walking endlessly. I mean, just what it signifies in terms of having to leave your whole world because you've been abandoned. And what kind of, I mean, where is their SEL coming? I mean, I don't know who's taking care of their social emotional needs. They just have to take care of themselves, right? And so when we look into our learning spaces, it's not somebody else's reality. It's a reality. It's our collective reality. And what are we doing? What are we doing in our learning spaces so that all of us are more aware of the world that we live in, right? that's what education is about, right? If you were to define education, once probably somebody would say that education matlab duniya ki samajh, to understand what is happening in the world is true learning, right? But agar hum batayenge hi nahi, if we don't share, if we don't talk about what is happening in the world, what is happening in front of our eyes, uh, what kind of learning is happening, right? And that's that's what brings us to towards the end. Next slide, please. Um, yeah, yeah, very serious. Janvi has mentioned violence. Yeah. Uh, I'm sure all of you have read about this, that the the reported cases of violence with children, with in domestic violence with women, went like, they kind of skyrocketed. And again, uh, I'm sure we all can relate to what how social emotional learning plays out, would play out if, yeah, children running for food and shelter, right? Okay, so it's almost time. So let me just conclude. Uh, SEL, social emotional learning, and this is about. It's not. It's not about strategies. I mean, it is about strategies. You have to use strategies, but it's about a way of life. It's about a mindset that we have to acquire. Seeing that how can we not just focus on academics or the core learning content? Can our core learning content include learning about life, learning about ourselves, learning about how to manage our emotion? And it doesn't require a separate curriculum. What it requires is integration. And why why because if you read a lot of brain research, there's this very interesting quote that we use, which says emotions are the gateway to learning. So if if we take care of emotions, if we create environment of safety where people feel safe, then what they are learning, the quality of that learning is completely different. Please go through what is written there. I would read some of it. Uh, can you go back, this the previous slide? I just so as social emotional learning is, we may, I don't know, we've been in India talking about this for maybe a few years now, but there's more noise about social emotional learning right now. But there's been a lot of work that has happened in this field, a lot of research that has taken place. And if I mean, these are some of the conclusions that I read, uh, were that if you integrate social emotional learning in your academics, this is what happens. It improves academic performance and endured outcomes and educational outcomes. It deepens the understanding of subject matter. That's often an excuse that people would use, saying that अरे पढ़ाई कैसे कराएंगे अगर ये सारी चीजें करते रहे. So deeper understanding of the subject matter, helping students learn well with others, because that's what translates into a working adults who work well with others. That's something, that's a life skill. Uh, increased student engagement in school, and decreased behavior that interfere with learning. Very key point, that it not only increases focus, but it also helps them not getting distracted. So there's a lot of research, and I'll share the resource with you in the last slide. But next slide, please. So what were some of the strategies we were using? So because we wanted to travel 7,000 miles kilometer, I don't remember what it was. What I thought was that I'll use some of the SEL strategies as we are doing this. So what were some of the strategies we were using? So welcome ritual, salam namaste, to build relationship, inviting participation. So before I tell you what SEL is, I actually invited you uh, to kind of talk about what SEL is for you. So always get participants to speak first before you actually uh, tell them. Otherwise, then there's no ownership. Active engagement. Brain break. I find it personally a very helpful strategy that uh, you're able to then, because we will anyway get distracted. It's better to get distracted by choice and then come back to what we are doing. Acknowledging diversity. Uh, some of the strategies I use to this, some I'm just suggesting. Physical response, self-awareness. So just uh, all learning spaces, sometimes there are long hours and we need to take care of our body also, so just make sure that happens. Building vocabulary, I use very briefly saying, okay, are these the emotions you're feeling? But especially when you're working with younger kids, younger children, it's important to give them vocabulary. Okay, so it's not just anger is just one word, but there is a spectrum of anger. So you could be irritated, you could be angry, you could be furious, and you could be burning with rage. These are different degrees of emotions. If we have the vocabulary, we can express it. If we don't have the vocabulary, we just say, oh, I keep getting angry, I keep getting angry. So it's very important to have vocabulary. uh, Use community building. uh, I cannot underline the importance of doing this more and more. That when you work with a group of learners, the first focus is to build a community. Different ways of doing it: play games, ask them to share with each other, give empathy, use storytelling, use humor. I hope I was able to use some um, deep listening. Prejudice reduction program using cooperative learning. I came across this term and I was say, wow. And I used it here because when we do play for peace, this is what happens when we are playing. So what we do is we play for 1 hour. We play for 1 hour games that are non-competitive, games that are cooperative. And if I do it regularly, if you do it regularly once in a week, over 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, we did it for 4 years in Hyderabad. Then when you see each other making mistakes, when you see each other goofing up, when you see each other succeeding, uh, you may come with a lot of prejudice that the society gives you, that you read about, or the television or the media tells you, but you can actually reduce it by creating this. Next slide, please. So there is 45 minutes, but there is years of tons of work that people have done. So you go and visit the website of Castle, casel.org, and you will find all the information that you need. If you're looking at activities, just Google these words. I mean, there are actually links here. So if you get this PowerPoint, you can click on them and you will reach the link. But it's simply just, if you type these things, you will get these resources, some very wonderful activities, and videos also. And of course, you can always Google search. That's what I did, um, to tap into what my experience is and how to make sense of it in terms of social emotional learning. Last slide, please. So time for body and brain break. The last line says Papa in Tamil, which means we'll see you again. So thank you, everyone. I know I have run over time. Thank you so much. If you have to say something, keep reacting to it. If there are any questions, my email ID is agyat@playforpeace.org. Feel free to write and ask questions. This PowerPoint is available, would be shared with you. But if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me and we can always talk about it. Thank you so much.
Thank
This is
you,
all I have to
Agyat,
say.
for making it super insightful and also very engaging. And also to everyone who were buzzing the chat box continuously. So in case anyone has any question, please feel free to ask Agyat. We can unmute you if you are not able to unmute yourself, or you can use the chat box as well.
I put my email ID there. You can write to us on that. Thank you, everyone.
Janvi says you have covered a huge topic in a few minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, it was
Yeah,
exact
you
on
know
time.
when you're using high speed, there's something called escape velocity. You actually skip the orbit. You go outside the Earth's atmosphere. So I hope I didn't go out of the orbit in completely different space where it didn't meaning any sense.
Yeah. So
I'm still curious to. I'd be curious if anybody is thinking about that 40-minute travel between New York and Shanghai. I wonder when that will happen, but that's the plan.
yeah. So yeah, we have about 5 minutes. We can take about 5 minutes if anyone has
Any questions, any comments?
anything
Yeah,
you would,
please.
yeah, anything you would want to share, or yeah. Meanwhile, I'm launching a poll so that give us your valuable feedback, and it will help us in our future master classes. So just take a minute to complete this poll, and also we'll wait for another 5 minutes just so that in case you have anything to share, any comments, anything, feel free to do it.
Listening, and I'm looking intently at the chat box also. So if somebody says something, I'll respond. There are more. There is yeah. There's this one also. I was actually I didn't real my camera. I was not looking at my camera when I was doing a live alert, but I think that would be one reason for you to be wanting to meet me and say, okay, can we do a live alert physically? A live alert, awake, enthusiastic. A live alert, awake, enthusiastic. Alive, alert, awake, alert, alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. There's also this. Okay, if you're filling the survey, I don't want to distract you.
No, that's all right. I think everyone could, you switch on your videos and do the brain breaks. That would be fun, actually.
Yeah, why not? So this is how it goes. If you're sitting, your thighs, so you go alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. Alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. Alive, alert, awake, alert, alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. And the whole idea is next time you meet in a master class, you can do it faster. So it goes alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic, alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic, alive, alert, awake, alert, alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. So you can always practice in front of the mirror. Thank you everyone for joining me. I hope you got some useful information.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you everyone. So Agyar has also shared his email ID there in the chat box. So in case if you would like to reach out to him further and speak on this topic, or anything you would like to reach out to him for, feel free to do so. And also I will share you the link to join Trainer Tribe in case you are not part of the community already. Feel free to join us. We are on Facebook. Yeah, the link is in the chat box. It will take you to the Facebook group directly. So feel free to join us there. Yeah, so Agya, thank you so much for spending your Friday evening with us. We look forward to having you again in the future master classes, and also everyone for
Assalamualaikum,
making it
everyone.
super engaging and very participating throughout the session. Yeah, and we will see you again next week for the next master class. For all the details, join us on Trainer Tribe Facebook group. All the details will be updated there. Yeah, thank you everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Agya. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Papam. Apra.
Yeah, ending the meeting in a minute.
Sure.